Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and now we are doing a review of the latest American Horror Story episode, and I think it's
Season 12, Episode 4,
and it's
The Vanishing Twin.
Yeah.
Safi?
I wanted to look up what that meant. They talk about it, of course, in the episode, but I'd never heard that before.
So overall, this episode, we're going to go through this one a little bit faster because Safi has to go do something. And also because it's not really worth talking about very much. It's,
I don't think much went on, really.
Not a lot happened, so...
yes, and I wanted to tell you, I'm reading the book, too.
And Safi doesn't like the book.
The show is actually better so far than the book. Of course, the book is writing, so they have a chance to develop the story more in detail. But still, it's not anything like the show.
Overall, this episode was okay. Yeah, my patience is getting a little thin because at a certain point, it just gets kind of boring where it's like, oh, all these weird things are happening, and she can't really do anything about it because she doesn't know what's going on. Like, it's getting a little old. And I would like to talk about something to get it over with before we get through the rest of the episode, just because I don't want it to overshadow the review. And that is Kim Kardashian. You know, she plays Agent Slobby Lobby, and
she's a publicist, I guess.
Slobby Bobby, Slobby, you know, everything else. And she has a 2-second sex scene in this episode, and she's having sex with like this fat guy character, and it's really hilarious because it's one of the worst sex scenes I've ever seen because it's only like 2 seconds long. And they're wearing all their clothes while they're having sex. It's pretty terrible. It's like, this show is on at 10 o'clock at night, and you can't find actors who will take their fucking clothes off? Like, seriously? Like, in the first episode in American Horror Story history, you have nudity in it. Like, what's the deal with that, Safi? Like, they can't get... Like, it's 10 o'clock at night.
I don't know.
Why am I staying up until 10 o'clock to watch these people with their clothes on? I mean, that's fucking retarded. And,
well, I don't want to see it anyway.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
I don't even know who the guy is. And apparently they do it once a week.
He's some fat British guy. I don't know. He's fat. He's even bigger than me. And, it's just hilariously bad because, you know, number one, the fact that Kim Kardashian's first sex scene is one where she has all her clothes on and it's only 2 seconds long is pretty pathetic. But you know what's even more pathetic, Safi?
What?
They have one of those sex police people on set to supervise this. So they spent money to hire someone just to supervise this 2 second long clothed sex scene. That is just, like, mentally ill. I mean, that is just deranged. Like, they don't... You guys don't need those people on set at all. They are completely irrelevant and useless. Why are... If you're so worried about money, if you're so worried about, like, you know, just how much you spend and everything, why are you spending money on these people who offer nothing? I mean, this is one of the worst sex scenes I've ever seen. It was stupid and terrible. And just, ew. So, Safi, that was bad.
Well, it was
Wouldn't you agree?
Another unnecessary thing, anyway. It doesn't further the story.
No, it was necessary.
Why? What's he going to do? They were hiding something, too. She's having sex with him to hide something. I have no idea what. Because I don't know who he is. Maybe he's a character that popped in the first episode or something. But I don't remember him.
I think he did in the first episode. I can't remember because his character's trash.
It's somebody, and it was probably like they had several people in the room, and he was one of the several people in the room.
And
like
so,
when they had that, I don't know, it was kind of like some kind of party at the
Yeah,
end,
I think he was
remember?
in there, but
Yeah.
this was just so embarrassing because, back a couple of years ago, Lady Gaga, she came on the show. She had a nude foursome with blood everywhere. It was 4 people. They were all naked, and she didn't need one of those people on set to supervise anything. So it's pretty embarrassing that, like, Kim Kardashian, I've completely lost, like, any respect for her as an actress in this show for the fact that, number one, she couldn't even take her clothes off for the scene, and number two, she had to have somebody supervise it on set. Like, that's pretty bad. Wouldn't you agree with that, Safi? Like, why did they need somebody to supervise them for that like 2-second long, like, pathetic excuse of a scene?
She plays a perfect part. She's playing herself, basically.
Yeah.
I can tell.
And she's really unlikable, I gotta say. Like,
yeah.
ugh. Gross.
Just what everybody was afraid of, anyway.
Yeah.
People who have actually acted on the show.
This is not someone who girls should look up to. Emma Roberts is someone that girls should look up to because she's really good in the show. And so now, let's get to the rest of the show because I wanted to get that over with and not have it be, the whole episode review.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to jump ahead.
No, you wouldn't.
So what?
Because then I get pissed off.
Well, there's been a thing. Well, they left their house in the country and went back to the place in the city. That was the first thing. And she swears. Oh, she did something weird too. Was it there or in the city? I guess it was back in the city. But anyway, she swears she feels like she is still pregnant. And this is where the title of the show comes in. Not yet, but it will. And she wants to go see Dr. Hill and check just in case. And her husband thinks she's insane, and Dr. Hill thinks she's insane. And by the way, Dr. Hill in the book is a woman.
Ooh. So how could the book be feminist if the main doctor's a woman?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't sound like the book is actually a feminist book at all. Is it, Safi?
Not so far.
No.
Not at all.
Well, neither
Not
is the
even
show.
close.
I mean, if anything, this show has become like the ultimate anti-feminist show because it's just so, like, amazing at the satire they do in this episode later on. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I'll comment on that.
It was like a big fuck you to Barbie. That's for sure.
Well, I don't want to say anything. Anyway.
It was.
I just
wasn't
think it
it?
has to do with all this maternal politics. I really do. That I'm not, because it really doesn't, so far anyway. Like I said, I'm at the beginning, the first 3 chapters or whatever, but it's, and they called the book that too, a feminist thing. I don't know. Like if you miscarry and all that stuff. I don't want to get into that, but anyway, it seems to me it has a little something to do with that, because this has been going on for at least a year or two in our society. So anyway, so she goes back. They go back to the city. She wants to go see Dr. Hill. They make an appointment, and then let's see, when did this happen? She did something weird in the basement. I think we should go to where she sees the doctor. And then when they get back, the mother-in-law is there. So.
Well, she sees the doctor, and the doctor says, well, actually, you have a twin. And it was just, what happened was the other fetus wasn't viable, and so there's...
She lost that one.
Yeah.
But she still has one. And he acted like... And I didn't like this. He acted like she was insane for even thinking that she could be pregnant. Women, this is why I'm saying, well, you don't have politicians guarding your maternal or any kind of health. You know yourself. And she felt she could feel something. And remember, she went to that store, and that girl put her hands, which that's a total no-no, on her abdomen and said, "Oh my God, I feel movement." And she got so excited because it verified what she had already thought. So, but anyway, he was acting like she was a dipshit, and her husband was acting like she was a dipshit, and I didn't like that. But then, he all of a sudden, after he looked at her like she was insane, you hear the heartbeat. And he says, oh, you are pregnant. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
It really pissed me off.
Really?
Yes. I just can't stand this.
Whoa.
This is a perfect evidence of you don't have politicians sit in the damn room with you while you're getting a sonogram. Oh, God.
I think Safi needs to take another nap.
No, but anyway, so she's happy, and her husband's happy. Her husband is bothering me.
And her husband he's the worst part of the show because he's just so like, ugh.
He's cold.
Ugh.
And
I hate even looking at him. Like, I can't even stand his face.
He wasn't like this in The Good Wife. He's like just the opposite.
Really?
So when I see him act like this, it just freaks me out. And they get back to the apartment, and she's all excited, and weird stuff happens, of course, on the way home. And guess who's in the bathroom? Her mother-in-law. She's cleaning up. I guess she'd taken a shower or something. And so, she's the biggest biatch on the planet.
What's interesting is that apparently the father of the husband was a satanic ritual abuser.
That's what she says, and that her psychologist has gotten that out of her repressed memories.
And so that shows that, it runs in the family. So this is possible. I don't think it's a red herring at all, because that is a real thing. Well,
the son thinks that her psychologist is quack.
Well, that's what the bad guy would say. And so, it is possible that we're going to learn more about that backstory with his family, and I'm excited to hear it, I guess. I mean, this episode, it's kind of been the opposite for me with Chucky, whereas with Chucky, I'm really wanting more from that show because they're so rushed and everything. With this show, it's getting to be kind of the opposite, where number one, it doesn't feel like American Horror Story. It feels like a different thing altogether. And number two, I'm kind of wanting less, because I'm just kind of wanting it to get to the point at this point. Like, I'm not really, because every episode, you could basically summarize it with the exact same summary. Weird stuff happens. That's my review. And, that's not very good, in my opinion. That's not really a great story.
Well, the reason why we brought up his father was that, she wants to take him to court and do a lawsuit against him, some kind of suit, and she wants her son to testify for her. So that's why we brought that up. And then she just, the whole episode, all she just does is say disparaging things about his wife.
Yeah.
I didn't like that either. And she doesn't understand why any woman wants to get pregnant. Of course, you just said that to your son, and you got pregnant.
Yeah.
So he says something, too. He said, what, you didn't want to have me? And I say, well, that's why he's so cold and messed up, because that's his mother.
It's a very feminist thing to say, too. Why would you want to have a baby? Why would you want to get pregnant?
And what she said, I wrote it down in my notebook, which I don't have in here, but I don't think I'd even want to say it.
What?
It's embarrassing.
Well, I guess that's the feminist message, is why would you want to have a baby? Like, oh, I don't know.
Furthering your your country's population. After World
Oh no, you wouldn't want to do that because that's sexist to do that.
in after World War II, you know what Germany did? I mean, we heard this when we went there in the 80s, mid-80s.
Well, what Germany did was they learned the hard way that they do not have the master race.
Well, they had lost so many people in the war that they were encouraging women after that to have as many babies as possible because their population had been very decimated by the war. And so, I mean, that World War II is very hard on Europe. Them, of course, and the rest of Europe. And, that's why they remember all that today. So clearly, I mean, went there in the mid-'80s, it was almost like it was yesterday. There's weird. And anyway, so she says something like that, and that's just ignorant.
Yeah.
It's ignorant. And I just hate that kind of stuff. And then she was so shitty about her daughter-in-law. Like, she was disparaging what she does and just everything. I hated that. Because I don't know who she thought she is, but it irritated me. So anyway,
then let's get to
weird stuff.
Emma
Really weird. Well, she did this one thing.
Emma goes to Agent Slobby Lobby's office, and she's like, "Here, meet Ashley and Ashley. They're a crisis PR firm, and they're going to help you get back your image by releasing a cringeworthy feminist anthem." And so this was where I thought that the satire was really good, is because they go into this huge music video thing. It is like the most pretentious, cringeworthy, like feminazi thing you've ever seen, and it's a take on like it's my body and it's my party and I'll cry if I want to, the song from Problem Child. And instead of that, she says, like, it's my body, and I'll take a dump if I want to. And you see her on the toilet again.
Oh,
and it is just hilarious. It's like, this is so accurate to what feminism has turned into.
And it is part of it at the very end. And it was like back in the 70s. That's where... There's a famous health book that came out then called My Body, Myself. And this was, pertinent to what's going on today. And they had some of that. She, at the end, and, about, well, I just don't want to get into maternal health. I'll just say maternal health, okay? But anyway, all that stuff with her sitting on the toilet.
That was really funny.
I didn't like it. I just thought it was stupid.
But the point of it is that it's stupid, Safi.
Yeah,
that's the point.
The end of it
is that they actually do this kind of stuff in real life, where these celebrities. That's why they said that Taylor Swift already retweeted it. Taylor Swift already gave it a thumbs up, and it's like, that was actually really good satire. That was like on the level of South Park. And then like they have a part where she's holding a bloody tampon, and it's like she's dangling it around, and she's marching on the street with all these black women behind her, and
all
like
kinds of women.
But they're put at the front for obvious reasons.
I didn't even notice that.
And so she looks like she's like a white savior, and it's so hilarious.
Well,
but that was the moment for me where I thought, okay, I don't want to watch this season again, because that was like a little too like satirical for me. Like that was a little too like.
Well, she was saying though at the end that to me it was a good thing. It was the only part of it that I liked. I'm pregnant and I'm happy about it, or I can't remember what I wrote it down and I don't have my notes. But there, it was something about, I'm pregnant, I'm glad I'm pregnant, and I wanted to be pregnant, or something like that at the end. And I mean, like, it's her body herself. It's nobody controlling her,
But
whether she's pregnant or not. But anyway, the women behind her, this huge group, but they didn't. It was so contrived, and they didn't even act. I mean, they really should have agreed in reality with that and been more loud about. And I think even for the scene, I would think they could do better than what they did. They're like, yeah, or whatever, but it wasn't very.
But
like they were on board with her. I didn't know. I thought it was really fake.
But what's cringeworthy though is that she's doing this whole thing where it's like it's her body and she can do whatever she wants. But the thing is that meanwhile, you have these witches and they're controlling her body and they are
she doesn't know that.
Damaging her baby, and so that's part of like the irony here, I guess, is that it's like, she really doesn't have control over her body because these witches are doing something to her, and she can't figure it out. So,
so just that part of the rest of it is like satire, and I don't like it.
It was funny, but it was kind of like cringe.
The end of it was a good message. The reason why they kind of linked it, though, they're having what did they say? This month is, I don't know what it was, like some kind of Mother Appreciation Month or National Mother Appreciation Month or something like that, or Maternal Health Awareness or Wellness or some kind of special month. And so that was her doing what she was doing. This video was supposed to be related to that. That's how they justified doing it.
Yeah.
And then, but we forgot, there is a scene in the beginning. It was some kind of medieval scene. And
well, I didn't know what really happened in that scene, so.
Well, there's a queen, and I don't know, they said Queen Elizabeth, but not the one who just died. I don't know.
No.
I don't know. It was like way back in the medieval times. And she's having her baby, and her sister comes, and she's had the baby, and they play the wah, wah, and she's in there all, it seems like she's in there all by herself, and she's had the baby, and she says, I want to see it. And she says, no, it's a monster or something. And then she hears some noise, and there's those same witches. And just one, I think. Or at least they just show one. And she said, who's in the room? And she said, and she doesn't say anything. And so anyway, she said that the woman in the bed who just gave birth, she said, I promised them the baby. And the sister says, you promised your firstborn to somebody? How could you do that? And she said, I'd never do that. And then the witch said, then you're never going to have a child ever. You're going to be barren.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I didn't really get what that was about, but that happened.
And she suddenly got in pain. She had to crawl to the door. And that was the end of it.
So I gotta be honest, guys. I don't know how much left there. I don't know how much that there is left to say about the episode. Like, is there very much?
Not really.
Well, oh yeah. She had this raccoon from the street that she brought in.
I didn't even know what it was.
It was dying, and she put it in a cradle, and she picks it up and she eats it, and it's dead. And I was like, why is this? Did they think that this is shocking? Because I can go on YouTube, and there are tons of videos where people eat roadkill.
Oh my God.
Turning roadkill into a 5-star meal with roadside herbs. This cheap family eats roadkill. I served roadkill to food critics without them knowing. The man who eats roadkill. Dead meat still moving. Ew. Ew, it's cow female genitalia. Ew. Vietnam street food. Oh, God. Ew. roadkill. So I thought it was kind of bizarre that like they thought that her eating a raccoon was shocking, especially after we just got done earlier in the day watching someone eat a human heart, which was a lot more gross to me.
That was on Friday the 13th, the 10th one.
No, the 9th one.
I thought it was the 10th one.
No.
Okay, well, anyway, it was gross and awful and horrible. And there she is, and she picked it up in the bassinet and starts. What happened right before it was, she woke up and she heard these noises, but then she goes to the refrigerator and she starts eating everything in the refrigerator, like she's having cravings. And so then that's when she hears more noises, goes to the basement, goes to the bassinet, and then she does this unspeakable odd thing and grabs whatever it was. I didn't even know what it was.
And I gotta be honest, guys, this is when the show is taking a turn for me, because if Emma Roberts, if she wasn't in the show, I probably would have stopped watching. Because it doesn't feel like American Horror Story, and it's just kind of dragging in a way where it's like every episode just random stuff happens, and you're like, okay, what's going on? And like it's fine to do that, but like not for this amount of time. In my opinion, like it's just kind of getting old for me. Like it's like the first 2 episodes were like, oh, this is fresh and new and different and fun, dark and funny, but this episode it was just kind of like, eh. So I give it a C-. Safi?
I'm trying to think. I'll give it a B-.
Oh.
But because they show the mother, because I can't get over this guy. Her husband plays such a cold character, who actually, I mean, it's hard to believe that he even loves her, and has almost no empathy. And when he shows empathy, it doesn't seem real. It seems contrived and fake. And maybe that's him being an actor. He's acting this part, which I don't know. He doesn't, in the book, he hasn't really made that big of an appearance. I can't compare it yet. But anyway,
well,
finding out she's really pregnant.
I really hope that he's an actual good actor, because I'm trying to see, like, I don't think I've seen anything else that he's done, and so I'm just taking your word that he's a good actor.
Everybody thought he was great. And then he
got
out of the show. People were very upset about it.
I haven't seen a single thing that he's done. Apparently, he was in the 1-episode reboot of the Dark Shadows reboot show, which is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
He played Willie. I don't
remember.
I don't think he would fit that character, honestly, based on this show. But I don't like him at all.
Well, I hate him in this show. I really do. I'm sorry, but it's just so different, so mean and cold. But then his mother, she was such a biatch. So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and tell us what you thought about it, and what do you expect to see, hope to see, and do you think it's really like an American Horror Story?
I don't. Because it doesn't feel like the show at all. And it feels like Ryan Murphy, he has so many things going on that he just gave up, and he gave this show to other people to make something that wasn't the show.
And I'll keep reading the book. I was reading another Tony Hillerman book, too. And so I read like 2 or 3 books at the same time. So anyway, I'll go back to this and see how it portrays the husband. But so far, it's really nothing like the show.
Really?
Not really.
Well, does it remind you of Rosemary's Baby as well?
Not even there.
Oh.
And I've read that book too.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah. So?
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.